big game, we've got a bit of a tradition where we bring in the opposition. So big game, yes, circa 2015. So we're kind of pretending that this is a big game because, hey, if somebody's been asleep for 5 years, they wake up and they want to watch college football and they see Clemson, Florida State, noon. Okay, I'll check that one out. Jason, welcome to the show. We got Jason Priester here from SI's allclemson.com. Jason, how you doing tonight?
I'm all right. Appreciate y'all having me on. How y'all doing?
Wait, we got two JPs on here now? Wait, hold on.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult.
Oh, good God. Well, first of all, Jason, thank you for joining us here. We do appreciate you taking a moment to talk about the massacre that your team's going to bring to us in Tallahassee this week. And we have another Clemson. We got two now.
This would be Brian Knight, a.k.a. Bobby Durkins, here on YouTube.
Hey, Bobby Durkins, how you doing?
Man, how you doing? How y'all doing?
Jason Parker, you're in for a treat.
I'm out of this.
You just came in for a full.
There, Bobby.
Jason, you might want to get back to drinking again.
This is a professional show, Bobby. This is a professional show you crashed here, Bobby. What is this slopping on your face and stuff in your face full of food?
He's happy. Look at him. He's got his flag back.
I'm hanging out. I'm hanging out. I mean, I put pants on this time just in case my computer should lean down. Okay. I wouldn't want to show you my prize and stuff.
Appreciate that.
All right,
my.
Thank you. So I guess the first question we have from our aspect is Trevor Lawrence. Obviously, he's missed the last two games dealing with this COVID stuff. I guess, number one, how has he been getting back into practice this week, number one? And number two, is there any way he could possibly still have lingering stuff and not make the trip to Tallahassee? Because that would be super. If he and Travis Etienne, your entire defense, if they could not make the trip, that'd be great, guys, if you could help us out there.
Yeah, I think Lawrence is 100% full go, man. Listening to him yesterday, he's itching to get back out there. That's probably not a good sign for Florida State this weekend, considering all the losses. And it's hard to believe all the stuff Florida State's been through this year, man. It's been one loss after another, and this week's kind of been the tip of the iceberg, it would seem. But yeah, I expect to see Lawrence come out with a purpose. He seems like a man on a mission this week talking to the media.
Bobby, what is Clemson's mindset coming in? Obviously, we saw it was the double overtime loss to Notre Dame. Then you have the bye week. What is Clemson's mindset coming into this game at this point? Are they going to look past and look at a Florida State team that, we call them pathetic on our show at this point? But how is Clemson looking at this game? Is it just another game in the road, or are they seriously thinking, hey, this is a Florida State team we really need to watch out for?
I'll tell you how they are in their sixth game. For the love of God, don't lose.
Okay.
No. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. If I was y'all, I'm going to tell you exactly what I'd do. Okay. First of all, you know you're going to lose. Mm-hmm. Mark, he's just being nice, but he knows you're going to lose. Mm-hmm. At Young and Up Top with Natural Light, you're good people. I like that. My wife, she drinks Natural Light. Reminds me of our honey. Reminds me of our honeymoon.
Okay.
I don't drink the light. I drink the ice.
You drink the ice. I like that.
That's the upgrade.
He's an elitist. He drinks the ice.
We amp it up a little bit more here in Tallahassee.
I like that. Well, what I was saying was, if I was Florida State, I'd say, look, everybody believes we're going to lose. Mm-hmm. Even God believes we're going to lose. So let's just go out here, throw the ball downfield, and see if we get lucky because we get picked off. Is anybody really surprised? No. So what I would do if I was Florida State is I would just play lights out for this game. To answer your question about Clemson, I really think that as long as, first of all, there's no fall off with quarterback. So if Trevor didn't play this week, I mean, DJ threw for 426 yards against Notre Dame. That's the most that Notre Dame's ever had passed against them in history. So imagine every great quarterback ever played against Notre Dame never did what DJ did in only his second start. But I believe Trevor's going to be fired up. I think our team is fired up. The big thing is we have to get our defense to play in well. I still believe we win this ball game by 2 to 3 touchdowns. Only way that it would be less than 2 to 3 touchdowns is we just come in there and we're like, well, it's just another game. And I've been preaching this, and then I'll shut up after this. Not really, but I will. And a lot of Clemson fans get pissed at me about this one. And that is, I've been saying all season leading up to that Miami game, leading up to Notre Dame game, when you're playing lesser teams, this is where you fix your problems with your safeties. This is where you fix your problems with your O-line. And everybody said, well, they're not going to show their playbook. And they're not going to do this. And they're not going to do it. Guess what? Guess what happened to us? I know injuries. Guess what happened to us? Clemson needs to take this time to fix their problems against y'all and need to focus on the game and forget about everything. Just focus on Florida State. Yes, you know you can beat them, and you should. Focus, fix things. If not, we can kiss our national championship hopes goodbye. Not with a loss this week, but just not preparing for the rest of the season.
Did I hear 3 touchdowns?
Mm-hmm. They're a 34-point favorite.
I've got some money available. I can certainly
put down a little bit of money.
Yeah, I could put a few down. I'll give you 14 or even 21.
Let's be honest, guys. If you expected a war of words, we know you're going to kill us. We've established that since July. We know what's going to happen. Logan's stupid enough to go to the game. I'm down here in South Florida. I'm not going to be up there. I'm not going up for this crap.
I'll never turn down being inside of a stadium with pads in it. And that will never happen. It's still a beautiful time to be alive inside that stadium. There's nothing wrong. And it's going to, like we said, it's going to be a cluster F. And you know what? It'll be what it is. I'll have Watch ESPN on my phone over there with whatever game is going on at noon. But I won't turn it down. I'll have a beer in my hand. I'll be watching football right in front of me. I could possibly see 4 quarterbacks. I could see 4 guys take snaps behind Florida State's wonderful offensive line against Clemson's D-line on Saturday. I will never turn that down.
Excuse my friend Logan. He's had a few beers already. So he's got the liquid courage to talk about. But we know the big names on Clemson's roster. We know the Trevor Lawrence's, the Travis Etienne's, these guys. From both of you guys, who are the kind of guys kind of flying a little bit under the radar on either side of the ball, offense or defense, that you think could have a big game for Clemson on Saturday? I'll start with you, Jason, and then we'll go to Bob.
I'll give you one on each side of the ball. On offense, I would say look out for wide receiver Joseph Ngata. He's been banged up all year. He's been battling abdominal muscle strain or something. Every time they think he's close to being ready, he re-aggravates it, re-injures it. He hurt it in the opener. They're hoping he is full go this week. And his absence has really hurt the downfield passing game. Him and Frank Ladson both being hurt most of the season. They missed a chunk of camp, and then both been banged up all season long. Those are your 2 boundary guys, and it's affected the downfield passing game. If he's 100% and they can start working him back in, that's a guy to keep an eye on the offensive side of the ball. I'm not saying he's going to have 10 catches, 100 yards, something like that, but he's a guy to look out for to make a few plays. On defense, a guy that doesn't get talked about a lot is Mike Jones Jr. He plays in the same spot Isaiah Simmons did last year. Doesn't get a lot of publicity. He's played that position well. He's had big shoes to fill, and obviously he's not Isaiah Simmons. He's not lining up all over the field, but he's done everything the coaches has asked him to do. When he's in there, the Tigers' defense hasn't been getting killed by tight ends like we've seen in the past. He's good against the run. He's been very solid at that Sam linebacker spot this year for Clemson.
I'll start with the defense. First of all, I'm just going to copy you because I agree with you 100%. Mike Jones Jr. told a bunch of people pre-season, I said, listen, you don't replace a player like Isaiah Simmons. You don't. Don't even think about it. And first one of you who tries to say that he's going to replace him, I punch you in the face. But he's come out. He's played great. He looks the part. Met him, nice guy. On the offensive side of the ball, now I know some people would say, well, he had the great game against Notre Dame. But up until that Notre Dame game, unless you were a true blue Clemson fan or true orange, you wouldn't really know about Cornell Powell. Cornell Powell came out and had a lights-out game. If for everybody who doesn't know Clemson football, you've heard the Ngata, you've heard the Ladson, you've heard, obviously, the big names in the past, Justin Ross, T. Higgins, Amari Rogers. Cornell Powell is one of those guys who normally would transfer out because he is that good. He's stuck around. He's been in the system. He knows how everything goes. I mean, Lord, he knows where Dabo Swinney keeps the mop and everything. You know what I'm saying? He has stuck around that long. He came out, had a great game against Notre Dame. We wasn't shocked as Clemson fans. We knew he had the ability, and I really look for him to have a big game in this one because I think he really showed everybody he's ready for the big stage, past just having, years of being at Clemson under his belt. So Cornell Powell, definitely.
Is there any concern, and I'll turn things over to Logan real quick, is there any concern the last two games, the offense coming – the defense has given up a decent amount of points. They gave 28, or excuse me, it was a 28 or 32 to Boston College.
28.
28 to Boston College, and then 47 to Notre Dame. That's different from what we've seen in the past couple of years from Clemson. Is there any concern about that defense at this point, or is it just, hey, that's just been those 2 games, these last 2 games? Or is there any concern on that defensive side?
I don't think there's a lot of concern about the defense when it's healthy. When it's not healthy, and we've seen the last 2 weeks what can happen. They've just had a lot of bodies missing on that side of the ball. And really for Clemson on defense, it all starts and stops with Tyler Davis, especially against the run. He's the guy that plugs the middle, draws those double teams, lets those linebackers and those ends fill the gaps and stop the run. And when he's not in there, those other guys aren't drawing the same kind of double teams that he does. And teams are able to run the ball a little bit better. We saw that with Notre Dame. We saw it with Boston College. And he's only played like 60-something snaps all year, I want to say, Tyler Davis. But if they can get him back and healthy, I think this defense improves a ton just by his presence on the field. And they need to get James Skalski, their linebacker, back too, but he's not going to be back for a few more games. But to me, it all starts and stops with Tyler Davis. I think if he's in there, the defense is pretty dang good.
I agree with you. When half of your defense shows up to Notre Dame and they get out of an ambulance, you got a problem. They got a morphine drip on your linebacking core. Not a good thing. So for us, we just got to get back healthy. That's one thing. And that's really with any team. I mean, I didn't, give you the keys to the house, but the truth is we got to get healthy. Agree with you 100%. Tyler Davis. Tyler Davis is the unsung hero of that defense to me because we just have so much talent across the front. It's just like, it's just crazy. Our linebacker play, we got to get, as you said, Skalski's got to get healthy. We got to get him back. That on the field leadership is a big deal. Big deal. That's like Michigan last year. They lost all that talent from year before, and man, they were, oh Lord, we're going to contend for. I'm like, contend for what? All your leadership is gone. I don't care how many 4 or 5 stars you got. When you get into the thick of things and you're playing the big games, no matter how talented people are, you got to have that one person who turns and says, guys, it's going to be okay. Play your position, do your thing. And Skalski's that guy for us. We've got to tighten up in our secondary too. That's just been a problem all year long. But I agree with you. If we can get Skalski back healthy, we get Tyler Davis back, we'll be okay.
I want to take it back just a little bit here because we know enough about what this game is going to entail. We'll give score predictions here in a minute, but I want to go back and we're just going to talk about the past year just for a minute. I want to go back to 2013, and I want to ask, talking about the 2018 Clemson team too.
Hold on a second. Those were the days.
They were beautiful. I was in there. I was in the stadium there in 2013. Beautiful night. One of my favorite nights ever since. I think it was probably my top 2 nights. I think the first one I kissed a girl, but the second time, beautiful. Being inside Death Valley and it being over after the first quarter. Jameis Winston doing his thing. But give me y'all's real score prediction if it was 2018 Clemson versus 2013 Florida State, because I'm going to take Florida State any day of the week. We talked about it in our group chat today, and I think Jason has a pretty strong take on it too. But I think Florida State's offense and definitely the defense of that team, I mean, everybody went pro, was on an NFL team offensively and defensively for Florida State.
Yes, I'm going to have to break the tie.
Yeah. Yeah, you might have to. But what do you think the score would be between 2018 Clemson and 2013 Florida State for you guys?
I think that's a pretty good ball game right there.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're talking the 2018 Clemson team, so that's the one that blew the doors off Alabama. Cool. Yeah, that's a pretty good game right there. I had to think about it for a minute to make sure which team we were talking about, but that's a stout Clemson defense. That's a stout Florida State defense. That's two elite level quarterbacks with ice water in their veins, playmakers all over the field. You know, I got to be honest, I'm not real sure who wins that game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not sure I can say one way or the other. I think it would be a thriller, though.
I'm gonna stick with my boys, but it's a hard game to call, because especially if it's the team that played against Alabama that night. I say we definitely win. I would say I think it'd be a lower scoring game, somewhere in the low to mid 20s. I think we edge them out by a couple of points. And I think that could swing really any way. It really could. But that was two great teams if you could have seen them line up on the same field.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that would be a phenomenal ball game. I think it'd be a little bit more high score. I think both defenses were great. You know, Clemson had, I believe Christian Wilkins was on that defense, correct? In 2018, yeah. On that defense. It's a great group on defense. I just think both of those offenses, it would have been a shootout on that one. But I do want to get since we have Clemson gentlemen on here, I want them to admit. I need Clemson supporters to admit that Florida State got screwed in the 2016 game. That there was no holding call. That Freddie Stevenson, the
chop block,
Florida State, was that
chop block, the chop block, yeah,
the chop block. That was a horrible call. ACC officials screwed us in that game, and I want you guys. This is a chance to make amends for your entire Clemson and admit that you guys got the benefit of a wrong call.
It was a terrible call, man. But Jimbo made it worse. If he'd have kept his cool, it wouldn't have been such a big hole. Yeah, it was not a good call.
I didn't think you admit it, but I appreciate it, Jason.
I always say this.
Yes.
Just like us losing to Notre Dame the other night. You can sit there and blame it on ETN, the bad exchange. You can blame it on our defense for missing a open gap in the second play of the game. You can blame it on ETN for running out of bounds with about, I don't know, a minute 30 left, and Dabo's over there just about to piss himself. So I could say that maybe that call was not exactly what you would want it to be. But at the same time, if we go back and count, there was probably about 100 other plays played us beside that one.
Bobby, we suck this year. I'm just trying to remember the good days. So give me this moment. You're having your time. Let me have this moment, Bobby, okay?
Hey, now listen to me. Listen to me.
I'm an older fella, man, so I remember a lot of good days for Florida State.
Absolutely.
Hey, I know that I am very youthful and very handsome. But I am almost 40, and I have seen the majority of Florida State versus domination over Clemson, and they have dominated us for many, many years. So that's why, my friend, I am not even going to give you this, because I remember the days y'all would blow our doors off.
Okay. I can respect that. Before we get to predictions, we have something we do here every single time, and we don't break tradition here. We're great movies, great moments.
Make sure you guys hit that like button. I think we're at 43, 103 people watching right now. We're kind of rolling, even though it's Florida State versus Clemson. This is how it should be, though. It should be stacking up. If this was actually, a good Florida State team and a good Clemson, we'd be rocking close to probably 1,000 views. But make sure you hit that like button, and make sure you hit the subscribe button too, so you'll be notified every time Mark goes live. He's going live a ton now. He goes live at like midnight, but make sure you guys hit that like button. We've got 103 people watching and almost 50 likes. I think we can get to 75 before we end this thing.
It's a bold prediction. Do we get more likes than Clemson scores points this week?
All right, then don't like it.
No. All right, so here we go, guys. First of all, we appreciate you guys coming on with us. So here's your chance. I need your prediction for Saturday. Bobby, I'm going to start with you, and then we'll go with Jason. What is your prediction for Saturday's game?
I said 14 to 21 points. Yeah, my medicine hadn't kicked in yet. Okay. I believe we're looking about 42 to 7, 42 to 10 Clemson.
So you think they score a touchdown? Okay, that's good. That's positive. We appreciate the support. Okay. Jason, what do you got?
I think, I hadn't really put a whole lot of thought in the prediction yet, but if I had to say off the top of my head, I was going to say 42-10 too. I think Florida State can, hit a few plays here and there, especially on Clemson's secondary. They're prone to giving up the big play here and there to get caught peeking in the backfield. And I think Norvell's probably going to pull out some tricks on them. See, they got nothing to lose, man. A team like that can be scary sometimes, and Florida State still got some big dudes up front on that defensive line.
No, from an outlet,
I think they can score. I'm not saying Clemson's going to shut them out or anything. I think they can score a touchdown or two, maybe.
From an outside perspective, obviously we talked about Clemson's a big favorite, 35-point favorite. Clemson will only score. I know this is where we are right now with Clemson. Saying Clemson will only score 42 points seems a little low. Do you think that's Florida State's defense might have a little bit of a pulse, or do you think Clemson is just kind of going to go through the motions, get this W, and focus on, I think it's Virginia Tech, and I forgot who else you have on the schedule after us?
Well, I don't know. Maybe a little bit of both. Clemson's got some offensive line issues, man. They have not been able to run the ball all season long, especially on the interior. They just cannot run between the tackles. And I think once they get up a little bit, they're going to start working guys, the backup offensive linemen in. They've got to get those guys up to speed. They've got to get those guys some playing time. The first string's been playing entirely too many snaps. And I think, you start seeing those backups come in, and you might not see Clemson scoring at the clip some people might would think.
Bobby Redbeard 40 is one of our main guys. He also just asked, you talked about your Bud Light hat there. Is that what you drank on the honeymoon while your wife drank the Natty Light, or what was the –
Oh, Lord, yeah. Yeah, okay. She thought it was real sexy when I took her high heel and poured Bud Light in it and sipped from it. That was a moment.
That's love right there. That's true love.
That's love. I tell you, my thing why I'm saying, 42 points, like you said, only 42 points is – of course, offensive line, something's got to happen there. I don't know if they got to start using steroids or something, bring back the PEDs. We got to have it. But as far as us not running the score up, I'm just not seeing a lot of hunger out of Clemson. And I catch a lot of flack for saying that. I think Clemson has it so good with all the talent, with all the continuity in the coaching staff, and everybody knows they're going to win about every game they play, even when they play the big games. It was kind of a shocker that they lost to Notre Dame, even though it was at Notre Dame, even with all the injuries. I think that there is just an edge that they had in 2018 that they don't have now. And to me, it doesn't even really deal with talent. It goes back to, especially on the defensive side of the ball, leadership. And you got to have guys out there like the Christian Wilkins who was firing you up. Yes, he's a once-in-a-lifetime player in college, especially. But I just want to see some fire from these guys and some excitement. And I think that's really what it's going to come down to, and that's why I lean back to 42-10. Now, I'll tell you, if they came in firing on all cylinders, excited about the game, playing good fundamental football, that's what lost them the Notre Dame game with the fumbles and the blah, blah, blahs, I would go 60 points easily right now. But we got to see some fire out of them, and we got to see good fundamental football. And I hate to say it, we haven't seen that the past 2 weeks they've played.
Dennis, those beers taste even better when Florida State's at the state it's at. I can trust you. Trust me.
You need to get through this season for Florida State.
It tastes way better.
Jason, Bobby, I'll admit it.
Yes.
I predicted you guys to lose to Notre Dame when we did our predictions back in July. I'll admit it, but I also said you'd come back and win the ACC. So you guys are there for you. You guys, I think you guys will take it this season. We appreciate you joining us, and we'll see you on Saturday.
Leave the mark.
Hey, anytime, man. Good luck, y'all.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for coming on.
Tell Mama I said hey.
Hey, Mama.
Yes, be good. Thank you.